view there is pretty nice.
Yep.
Okay, let's go. Thank you, Kate.
All right, we are live, Mayor. So if you want to call us to order and we can see if there's anyone for public comment.
Okay, let's do that. Happy holidays to everyone. Happy New Year. Thanks for spending some time with us this morning. Kate, let's check and see if Doug's on for public comment or anyone else.
Yep. Doug is here, so I will unmute him. And Doug, good morning. Can you hear us?
Good morning, and I have nothing to add. Let's get on with business. Exciting things are happening in 2022.
Doug, do you have COVID?
No COVID on this end so far.
That's not a healthy response from you. I'm concerned.
Well, thanks for your interest. I'm perfectly fine, and it's always a nice moment of the month to gather with you guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Doug.
Thanks for being here. Do we have anyone else, Kate?
Anyone else, please raise your hand.
Oh, you're muted.
If anyone else would like to raise their hand for public comment, please let me know. We are good,
Okay.
Mayor.
All right, well, next we have the approval of minutes. Do you have a motion? Carlton has
Second.
and seconded by Orange. All in favor, raise your hands. Okay, thank you. That was unanimous, Kate. We have Shauna here with the community committee report.
Unless I missed something from Nick, I don't believe we have a report, Mayor. Nick, question mark.
Okay. We have the 2021 year in review and our look ahead.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Can y'all hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, great.
Yep.
So I will just share some slides. Really, first, I think we all appreciate getting together after the holidays and looking forward to the new year. So this presentation really is looking back across 2021 to celebrate our successes and looking ahead to 2022 to understand some of the milestones that will be ahead of us. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Great. So thinking back across 2021, it really was this year of resiliency and response and pivot. And I'm so grateful to everyone on this call and all of our team members across the city for coming together during times of uncertainty and delivering not only great park experiences, but keeping the park moving forward. A lot was accomplished in 2021. A lot was accomplished because of donations from the Dix Park Conservancy to the city of Raleigh, including around $225,000 in early park investments, which included the hammock forest, which everyone loves, the picnic shelters and signage, water fountains that were underwritten by Rotary, benches and swings. And so what you saw in 2021 was a lot of installation of amenities at the park that really extend the park visitors experience. And so very grateful that that occurred and that we're going to continue those in 2022. Also a huge milestone in 2021 was the opening of the Greg Poole Jr. All Faiths Chapel. Just of note, we've had 26 rentals since opening, which has generated around $24,000 in rental revenue. And that rental revenue is going directly back into funding the salary or the salaries of the part-time staff that help us run the space. So it is a beautiful space, and we project that it will only continue to get busier in 2022. 2021 also saw our second year of the Youth Conservation Corps. I know council received a presentation on this last meeting, but not only is this a great way to add some capacity to park staff to do things like the early park improvements, but it's also a stewardship training. It is workforce training. It is really developing the next generation of park stewards. And this past year, we had 12 crew members from all over Wake County, 2 team leaders that put in about 4,000 hours of work at the park. And we're excited to continue that relationship and that partnership with the North Carolina Youth Conservation Corps, and hopefully grow it over time. Another big milestone for 2021 was the return to in-person programs and events. So we went from virtual events and programs to hybrid events and programs to in-person programs and events. And these are our smaller programs, yoga, Tai Chi, art classes. But from July to December, we had 143 programs in the park with close to 7,600 program attendees. And so it's a great testament to how this park works at multiple scales, from small nature classes of 6 or 7 kids to movie nights that bring 200 and 300 people. We also saw the introduction of some new cultural programs and events. This included Juneteenth, the Intertribal Powwow, the partnership with the Mexican Consulate for Wings of the City, and In Plain Sight. Each of these events not only brought a diversity of people to the park, but established new partnerships with cultural organizations in our community. And I think this is the type of programming that the park is uniquely positioned to offer the community moving forward. So we're really excited about the continuation of Juneteenth and the powwow and bringing new cultural events to Dix Park in 2022. As was mentioned, we also saw the return of Nights of Lights. And in 2021, I know Joey is very excited that his Nights of Lights traffic director jacket can be hung up now, but we really focused on the idea of more lights, more nights, and less cars. And so we introduced an extended calendar that included a 5K, that included 2 bike nights, all of which were sold out. And thankfully, there were no traffic issues this year. Joey, do you want to give a quick update on the ticket sales as of 2025 or 12/25, since this is a little bit out of date?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. Just had the opportunity to pull kind of our final data for Nights of Lights this morning. The event, now that it's over, sold 32,672 tickets. We served over 980 folks on bikes, and we had a 5K attendance of 1,461 folks. So again, just very proud and very happy with the amount of folks that we were able to serve through this event, have their opportunity to, experience Dix Park at the holiday season. So those are kind of our final numbers there. Thanks, Kate.
Yeah. And the other piece that we're really proud of in partnership with WRAL and Capital Broadcasting is all of the community outreach that went into Nights of Lights. So not only did we have the preview event for Wake County Public Schools and local hospitals, we provided a number of free vehicle tickets to local groups and nonprofits. We actually worked also within our PRC, our Give Play program, to families that we serve through the department, and got some great feedback and pictures and videos from Parks families that went through the event, and then partnered with Food Lion on a canned food drive as well. So it is not only this, what we hope will continue to be this great holiday tradition, but it also serves the community in lots of ways. I think just overall 2022, we really came together as a conservancy and a city to deliver some really amazing opportunities and programs and events for the park, and all of that hopefully will just continue. And so I thought I would switch just really to 2022 and a look ahead. There is a lot that will be happening in 2022, both on the park development side of things and the program and event side. As most of you are aware, we will kick off the building and site analysis, which will include the financial analysis and the partnership model. We will look to kick off a cultural interpretive planning process with money that's coming from both the Conservancy and the state. We will also bring a number of new programs to the park. The first being what we're really excited about is the Black Builders exhibit in partnership with Preservation North Carolina. This will be a pop-up museum at the chapel across the early part of 2022. It will also include a relocation of the Plantation to Park exhibit from the City of Raleigh Museum to the chapel. So we'll have this kind of pop-up museum that people will be able to enjoy across the winter months. Hopefully we will also see the return of Dreamville if everything's looking good. And also the return of Juneteenth. So a number of great things to look ahead to in 2022. In Q3 and Q4, we will see the groundbreaking of the Gibson Play Plaza, which is really the first major park development effort, 18.5 acres in the summer of 2022. That will be the biggest project that we've undertaken to date, and we're very excited about getting that work going. 4th of July is coming to Dix. So the city's fireworks celebration will be at Dix Park this year. And then you'll see kind of the return of all of our fall programs and events, including the Intertribal Powwow, Falling for Local, and the 3rd annual Nights of Lights. So there is a lot of good stuff ahead, a lot of work ahead for us to prepare for all of these things. But I think we've got a good understanding of the milestones that we'll be working towards and how this group specifically will help inform a lot of the planning studies and the park development that will be going in 2022. So I'm going to stop there and just ask if there are any questions about what we did in 2021 or what we're looking to. I'll also let y'all know that we're pulling together almost kind of a year-end data report so that you can see really the outreach, where all of these people, the zip codes for all of our attendees, our growth in social media over the past year. So all of that will be in the works that we'll bring to you in probably a memo prior to the next meeting.
Hey, could you take your screen down so I can see if anybody has any?
Sorry.
Does anybody have any questions for Kate? Well, I just want to say I'm really excited. We're finally going to do July 4th at Dix Park. I think that that's going to bring up a lot of people there who never been. And I'm also very pleased, Kate, with the outreach. That is something that we had said was important to us, improving diversity efforts, whatnot. So good work with that, and thank you. And I just want to mention too that we had my granddaughter's first birthday party at Dix Park this year at Flowers Field, and we had a great time. But one of the things that just blew everybody's mind, all of a sudden out of the woods comes a mama deer and her baby running. That baby ran so fast. Everybody was just standing there like amazed. And then all of a sudden the buck comes flying out and he goes in the opposite direction. But I don't think anybody realized the wildlife that exists at the park. And it was just one of those moments where it was jaw-dropping and absolutely beautiful to witness. So lots of fun and good stuff. So thank you. Next, we have Janet, the Dix Park Conservancy update.
Thank you, Mayor, and just a shout out to Kate and her whole team. They do an amazing amount. Joey, who's on the call, with very few staff, and I know they have worked just a lot of hours this year to pull off the amount of success. And I think Carlton, you had just put a note in there about, and thank you to Jim Goodman and WRAL, that the Nights of Lights this year was just really magical and fun, and just, you know, a lot of learnings from the first year. So thank you all for the work on that and the partnership. So the Conservancy, I mean, as you know, is the fundraising partner, primary role, and we have raised over 20 million, I think, in the last half of this year. We've got some very generous donors on the call with us today. You know, as you know, AJ Fletcher has made some major commitments to the park this last half of the year. And then we also, I want to thank the city for working with us to secure the gift agreement for the Gibson Play Plaza. I mean, a lot of hours and time and learnings that went into that. So we did secure that $10 million gift, and that has been deposited, you know, into the bank. We have also, we've now got 18 founding partners of Dix Park. Just in the last week, Ed and Vicki Fritsch donated, pledged $1 million. Eddie Smith of Greenville, Grady White Votes, committed, and then also Chris Woody and his family committed to $1 million. So amazing amount of generosity, and we still have a few days left in the year. So we'll see if we can get that number up to 20. And of course, part of the fundraising is the city's generosity and proactivity, the $12 million advancement for groundbreaking of the Play Plaza in July. So incredible, you know, proactivity from the city there. And then also, of course, we have these bond proposals that have the 41 million city's portion for the Gibson Play Plaza. So appreciative of that. I won't repeat. Kate did such a great job talking about all these wonderful events that we did this year. But I think I'm looking forward to that data report, Kate, but I think, you know, over 250,000 people coming through. Amazing that we did the 32,000 tickets with 3 people per car for the Nights of Lights. So a large number coming through just in December for that event. As we look forward to, well, and I'll say one other thing on the innovation and growth and our partnership with the city. I think we worked together on fees and did some, you know, work that broke from, you know, traditional parks department. So appreciative of that. And we are now looking at fees again for the next year. Some of the public arts, again, I think there were some accommodation of process and the 1% art budget for Gibson Play Plaza. So appreciate the work there. And then of course, this naming rights and gift agreement. So going into 2022, I know we have a finance agreement we have to execute, and Brandon Poole has already put some drafts together. So looking forward to starting to execute that and negotiating that with all parties in the beginning part of the year. Of course, we have the bond, Parks bond this year. So we will be working hard. We have already launched our general affinity and awareness campaign, and then we'll be working with the Raleigh Chamber on a specific, you know, Parks bond campaign. Looking forward to that ribbon cutting this summer. And then also some of those additional amenities. We did meet with the Department of Administration Secretary, Pam Cashwell, just before the holidays, and we are meeting with the new Secretary of DHHS here in January to discuss sort of the impacts on that eastern side. I think, you know, my sense is they're not fully, you know, obviously the people at those buildings are working on COVID and other very important aspects. I'm not sure they are fully aware of some of the Lake Wheeler Road timing, access, you know, construction. So I think sharing some of that with the Secretary Cashwell and thinking about, you know, could it be possible to have some of those folks move so that they're not in the middle of a massive construction zone on that side of the park, might be, you know, an argument as we get that data and can share with them how they will be potentially impacted on that side. We are also hoping to work on the Stonehouse renovations because of the potential delays in the Lake Wheeler. There may be more folks coming in through the main entrance, looking for ways to get over to Play Plaza. Again, I think we'll be working with the city to understand how the traffic flows will work on this site, especially in that gap when the park is open and the road is still under construction. But these stone houses would be another hub there at the historic entrance near the Greenway, where we could potentially then offer both public amenities, welcome center, as well as nonprofit park center, potentially housing the Youth Conservation Corps that Kate already highlighted has done so much incredible work and will be back in the park, as well as the city parks this summer. I think the other main thing I just want to highlight is that we will be executing an interpretive plan for the park this year. That will be a very major community engagement effort as we look about how do we talk about Native American history, African American history, mental health, all the different components of this incredibly complex and rich site. And I think that's going to be something the community committee is involved in, as well as the legacy committee. So looking forward to that work and having that be a key piece of public engagement.
Okay, Janet, thank you so much. And congratulations on bringing in additional gifts in addition to the Gibson family gift. That was amazing. So good work by everybody. And I'm really looking forward to working with the chamber and kicking off the bond campaign. That's going to be the single most important thing we can accomplish this year. So thank you. Next, we have around the table. Anybody want to, Carlton?
Yeah, and talking about the park and the bond issue and the road, we throw around this 1 million person a year visitor number. It's half or less of what we saw at Gathering Place. And so we just cut it back because we just didn't know. If we got 250,000 people to the park in 2021, under the circumstances of the health issues and the limited facilities available in the park, then it appears to me that we're way low at 1 million. I think that's good news. But when we talk about Lakewood Road and talk about other aspects of the park, we've got 250,000 people with just good programming. So we just, need to strap on and realize that we're going to have millions. All good news. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Nancy?
And I think, I'm sorry if I'm repeating what Janet already said, and sorry for the way I sound, but I guess this is a question for Tansy, is we know the road's not going to be done. So is the city going to come up with a plan for how we're going to get people in and out, where they'll park them, how we'll get them onto the property? Because when we open, DHHS will probably still be there. So we'll have to balance, what we're allowed to use with what they've got. Is that what you referred to, Tansy, when you said we were going to have a report at the next meeting?
We can certainly talk about that as well. I think there was some interest in just getting a refresher on some of the prior feedback that we provided on sort of the planning studies and capacity. I think we're going to provide some of that was shared, but maybe it's probably been a year since it's been discussed with this group. So I think we were just going to do a refresh. And then now that the project's funded, I think there was going to be a bit more sense of what were the next steps in design and timeline. But I think we can certainly work with, I think there's sufficient time between now and the next meeting to talk about how parks and transportation staff would coordinate on routing directions, those kinds of things in the interim before that entrance from Lake Wheeler Road was open. So I see nodding from both Stephen and Kate that we could accommodate that within the same presentation.
Also, I communicated with Molly, who was the zoning attorney for the, blanking on the name of it. It's the, not the Chris Woody project, but the one you all just approved a couple months ago.
Yeah, let's start.
So Nicole had asked at the table if, you know, there were considerations in the project for shared parking with the park. And Molly's response was that she was talking to people at the city and people at the Conservancy. And obviously we'd, you know, we'll love to talk to her, but it's really conversations she has to have, or whoever is developing that has to have with the city. So I don't know who at the city they're talking to, but she indicated that they are interested and open to those conversations. And I think that would be really important for us. Not only do we need to have as much parking adjacent to the property, but also and consider while we're talking about planning the road to look at the pedestrian access if we are going to have shared parking.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. We've met with Atlas Star several times through our transportation and parking staff.
Okay.
So we obviously they're very early in their stages,
Yeah.
but we have expressed interest. And you know, shared parking has all different definitions.
I know.
We've expressed that when they're not using some things at peak, we would love to have accessible parking. But our parking manager and transportation director were on the calls as well.
Okay, and I don't know if it's anything that, you know, if you've discussed any ability to add extra parking and what that would cost, kind of like we did at Dillon. You know, I know that's not in the conditions, but if they're open to shared parking, you know, obviously if they're putting in a few floors of parking, it's cheaper. And when I say us, I of course mean us together to add more parking to that than it is for us to build a separate deck. Just throwing it out there. Thanks.
Mayor, this is Jim.
Yes.
On Lake Wheeler. Look, I don't want to give up yet. I believe the city has adopted a new process. I don't think you call it design build. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure exactly what you call the process that would allow this to move ahead much quicker, more quickly. Right? Am I right about that? I don't know. Is there another way to think? Is there another way to do this road? I don't believe you've ever done it before, but don't we have a new way to do it that could get this done? You know, we've got 2.5 years.
So Jim, we'll be prepared to address that question next year or next month. The city does have some alternative authorizations for construction methodologies, and they can certainly look to see if there's benefit on Lake Wheeler Road. The challenge with Lake Wheeler Road is beyond, there are the contracting elements. Part of the challenge is just the topography itself and the design in coordination with the utility transmission, the power transmission lines there. But we can certainly have them make sure that, again, I think the staff have looked really closely into the construction schedule to make sure that we have the most expeditious path, but we can certainly make sure that they evaluate to what degree a design build or alternative construction methodology would bring.
Okay, and then whatever help we can, I don't know that we can, but whatever help the Conservancy can do with Duke Energy or whatever, I mean, you know, what are the roadblocks and how can we help kind of, Mayor, you know, I just want you to order the city to have this road ready on the opening day. Will you do that?
We're
Are you-
gonna all wait till next month to hear what staff has to say. That's how we're gonna do this.
I don't
Yeah, and I
know.
do want to make it really clear, Duke Power is a great partner to the city.
Mhm.
We meet all the time with Duke in terms of how we coordinate our projects and their projects. And I am certain Duke is going to do everything they can do to be a good partner. They also have constraints in terms of how the system relies on transmission lines. So they need transmission lines up to carry the loads. And so they've got limited kind of seasonal places where they can take down an entire transmission line. And so there are a lot of factors that they have to evaluate in how they do we all use a lot of energy in the winter and summer. And so it's partially their construction cycles rely on when they can take major transmission lines offline and not impact their distribution systems. So we are already beginning to work with Duke in terms of being able to anticipate their impacts and needs on the project.
So some power lines will be moved?
Yes, both distribution and transmission lines will have to be moved. So that is one of the expensive and complicating factors of this project. The right of way here is very narrow and very, this is going to be a challenging project.
Okay, I understand I understand everything you said. I'm sure it's important we get this thing open. You know, whatever we can do to get that done. And it looked to me like the schedule, I'm not sure we could be a year late. There was a window there. You had a window of completion.
Yeah, so we will again go in a deep dive again next month and make sure everybody has a good understanding. Again, at this point, we don't have a design, so there's going to be some ranges included until we get a little further into the project. So, but no, it's just like with Plaza Play, the more we get into it, the more we know about the project, the more precise all those timelines will get.
Okay, and I think, I believe that we have a meeting scheduled with the transportation. So there's an issue of when it will be completed. And then there is some, I think we would like to discuss with your folks. There's some concern about what is the design of Lake Wheeler to carry how many cars? I mean, what is the capacity that we're designing for, right? I mean, we're unsure about Plaza Play. We're sure that we'll be up, I'm saying between 800,000 and 1 million. There's also a plan maybe to put other things in the park. We've got all that development on the other side of Lake Wheeler. So I think we're scared about Lake Wheeler, right? About getting folks into the park and what's going on. So what are the design specifications? How many what traffic load are we designing Lake Wheeler to carry?
Yeah, thank you for the reiteration. I think we understand the interest for the presentation next week, and I'm looking at Kate and Stephen. I think that's consistent with the kinds of conversations I've had with transportation and engineering in terms of the kinds of questions they'll be prepared to address and answer. And I see confirmation. So I think we're all on the same page that's the scope of interest.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Kate, I just have one question, and that is regarding potential murals at Dix Park. Where are we on that? Have we had any discussions with DHHS? What buildings might be available, et cetera, et cetera?
So Stephen and I had a high-level conversation with the director of property at DHHS, and they're very willing to work with us on the idea of murals at the park. And so we've got some early 2022 meetings set up to think about where and then what partners in the community and how to actually get that done. But the initial response from DHHS looks good, and they're willing to work with us on some murals at the park, which is very exciting.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, anything else?
Mayor, since everyone was talking about it, I just thought I'd preview the January agenda because it is a very full agenda. And I think a lot of the questions that were asked today will be addressed in the presentation. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to share my screen real quickly and preview the January meeting agenda. So a couple of things will be on that. One will be a discussion of fees at the park. There will be a large percentage of the meeting dedicated to Lake Wheeler Road and addressing all of the questions that were asked today and the timelines associated with that project. We will also provide an update on the ongoing work with marbles and that study, as well as preview the building and site analysis scope. So January is going to be a very full meeting. We knew December we knew this meeting we wouldn't be able to have everyone here. So we have packed the January agenda. So please get ready for that one. And there will be pre-materials coming out to help everyone prepare for those discussions. So January will be a full, exciting meeting where hopefully a lot of the discussion today will be responded to.
Kate, when will we have dog park discussion on there? An overview?
Right, we can bring the dog park back to the meeting on January as well. We'd also love to get everyone out on site to see the locations. And so whenever people feel comfortable coming back out on site, maybe that's a February meeting, we could get out and actually do the visits between the two spaces, and we can have some renderings available as well.
Okay, that would be great. I think January might be premature for that, especially with the agenda as full as it is. Orange?
Mayor, I recall there was an EDGE study that was done or being done. Can someone update us on that EDGE study?
Yeah, or Tansy, do you want to jump in or you? Okay.
You can take
yeah,
it.
so the EDGE study has been there in the final pieces of actually the reporting of that. And so at a future meeting, we can definitely provide an overview of the EDGE study. I can also send out a link to the webpage that has all of their materials. The most relevant piece of that EDGE study is the Lake Wheeler Road streetscape and some of the recommendations around land uses and affordability in the Fuller Heights Carolee neighborhood. So if this committee would like an update from that planning staff, we can, I'm sure, coordinate that, or we can also send out some materials for you to review.
So just for clarity for this group's awareness, it'll come back to the council. It'll be referred to the plan, or it'll go to the planning commission. The planning commission will review it, and then it will come to the council with planning commission recommendations. There could be changes that would be identified through that process, and the council will set a public hearing before formally adopting that, so that even when the staff piece of that is complete, it still has quite a bit of public process still ahead.
Yeah, I think we just want to make sure we're not surprised by anything. So any update you can give us would be appreciated.
Okay. Anything else?
Mayor Jim, one more time, I forgot to mention one thing to Tansy. In thinking through the process for getting Lake Wheeler done, I'm thinking, okay, we got to do the following. I'm making this up now. We got to do the following 10 things. And this is our procedure for doing these 10 things. And this is how long it's going to take. I wanted to suggest the concept of engaging additional staff or additional resources for the city to expedite the timeline, and suggest maybe we could help you find that money or something. I mean, I'm going to keep right. I try to make things as simple. Here's the list. Here are the people we have to do it. Now let's get some more people and we can do the list quicker.
Yeah, again, we'll make sure that when they do the update that we have already started the process of obtaining outside resources to assist. So that process is already underway to identify design partners. So I think that they'll be prepared to speak to both the internal and external resources that will be brought to the team to deliver that project. But thank you, and we will certainly check in to see if there are additional resources beyond our typical project management delivery process that could help accelerate it. We certainly understand and will impress upon the staff doing the presentation that the interest of this group is opportunities to accelerate and streamline the process as much as it can be. I will say there are challenging pieces in the process that are difficult to accelerate. Again, as everybody knows, this is a really tight corridor. And so some of this is right-of-way acquisition and those kinds of things that generally we would have had a longer period of time to start before a project, because oftentimes our projects are designed and then they get funded over a period of time. Here, we're sort of doing all of that simultaneously, which certainly provides some opportunities, but also creates some limitations in terms of some projects we come into and already own a lot of the right of way. But we'll share those interests with the team doing the presentation.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay. For the good of the order, anything else before I adjourn the meeting?
Happy New
All
Year.
right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here this morning. And we will be ready for January's very robust agenda. And thank you to the staff, the Conservancy, everybody for your partnership and making this happen. So Happy New Year, everybody, and see you in 2022.
Thank you.
Take care.